Hi, welcome back to my channel. I spent a weekend in Florence, Italy, and was amazed by the abundant art and history in this historical city. In this video, I'm going to show you my recommendations of things you should visit in Florence for a short 2-day trip. When you are in Florence, you must embrace the wonderful opportunity to appreciate the art. A must visit is the Uffizi Gallery, home to the world's greatest collection of Italian Renaissance art. The gallery sits in Uffizi Palace, originally a government office building, later turned into art gallery, owned by the Medici family. The art collections were bequeathed to the city by the Medici family in 1743 on condition that they never leave Florence. Here has a rich collection of the greatest Italian artists, including Botticelli, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Caravaggio, etc. The most well-known paintings are The Birth of Venus, Primavera, and Medusa. The amount of world-class artworks will likely take a few hours to visit. My recommendation is to buy tickets online, to skip the line, and come early in the morning to avoid the crowd. Another must-visit gallery in Florence is the Accademia Gallery. It's very small, but it's home to one of the most renowned sculptures, David, by Michelangelo. David is a figure from the biblical story David and Goliath, in which a boy named David killed the heavily armed giant Goliath with only a sling and stones. So why is Michelangelo's David so famous? Many Renaissance arts depict David, but almost all of them capture the moment after David has killed Goliath. Michelangelo was the first one to capture the moment right before David set off to battle the giant. His brow drawn, his veins bulge out, his look is serious and determined. His body is perfectly beautiful. David was initially commissioned to be placed in a cathedral, but then the Florentine authority acknowledged that it was almost impossible to raise the over 5-meter height statue on the roof of the cathedral, so it was put at the entrance of Piazzale Vecchio. In 1873, it was moved to the gallery to protect it from damage, and a replicate was put at the original spot. Cathedral of St. Mary of the Flower, or people normally call it the Duomo, is probably the most famous landmark in Florence. It was the largest church in the world at one point. Now it's the third largest in Europe. You can climb up the 463 steps to reach the highest point in Florence and enjoy a stunning bird's-eye view of Florence. Unfortunately, the Duomo was closed when I visited, but I managed to climb up the bell tower, which is also included in the ticket. The stairs are very narrow and it's a one-way street. I also got a very nice view of Florence skyline on top of the bell tower. But if you're claustrophobic, I wouldn't recommend climbing it. The ticket to the Duomo includes the dome, the bell tower, and baptistery, and is valid for 3 days. Florence is no short of piazzas, and Piazza della Signoria has been the center of political life in Florence for centuries. The town hall Palazzo Vecchio is here, with a copy of Michelangelo's David at the door. Many beautiful sculptures are displayed on this piazza. Each represents a different story: murder, rape, religion, and all have a political purpose behind. Wandering around Piazza della Signoria is like visiting an outdoor museum. When you are in Florence, you can't miss Arno River, which divides Florence into 2 parts. It has provided work for the residents and served for recreational purpose. It has witnessed the history of Florence, and sometimes it was the history, such as the 1966 flood of Arno River, which damaged millions of art pieces and rare books. Today, Arno River is where locals and tourists relax with a gelato in the afternoon or over a drink at night. When you walk along Arno River, you can't miss this very unique bridge with shops on both sides. It's called Old Bridge, but to me, it's a romantic bridge. Legend has it, the famous Italian poet Dante met his lover and muse Beatrice on this bridge when she was only 8 years old. The shops used to be butchers or groceries. Today, they're occupied by jewelers and souvenir shops. Another bridge similar to this is in Bath, a small town in the southwest England. largely influenced by the Italian art and architectures. Check out the video at the corner to see what Bath is like. For the best view of the whole Florence, you have to go to Piazzale Michelangelo. It's a square and terrace on a hill, giving you a 360-degree view of Florence, from River Arno to Old Bridge, from the Duomo to Uffizi Gallery. Any time of the day, it never fails to give you the most stunning view. My preference is to bring some wine and snacks here and watch the sunset. Piazzale Michelangelo is located a bit further away from the city center, south of River Arno, but the walk from the city center is quite enjoyable. Not too far away from Piazzale Michelangelo is Bardini Garden, an Italian Renaissance garden on top of a hill. It's part of the Bardini Villa, and the entrance is from the Bardini Museum. It's a hidden green space in this crowded city, and you can also get a panoramic view of Florence from the top. Whenever I travel to, I would check out the local market. From what's on the dining table, you could see the uniqueness of a country or city. The go-to market in Florence is the Central Market, built in the 19th century. You can find stalls with vegetables, meat, cheese, fresh pasta, truffles, etc. There are also food stalls where you can find some freshly made Italian cuisine on both the first and second floor. Okay, my last recommendation is where to stay when visiting Florence. Most travelers stay in the city center, but the hotels can be really expensive, especially during the peak seasons. But if you search for accommodations south of the River Arno, the cost can go down a lot. For my trip, I chose an apartment just a few minutes walk from the river and only 15 minutes walk to the city center. At the price of €200, I got a really nice and modern apartment with a huge living room, kitchen, dining area, and an ensuite bedroom. It can easily fit a family with children, so do keep your options open when looking for accommodations. I hope this video is helpful for you to plan your trip to Florence. Please give the video a like and check out my other videos on the channel. See you next time.